really alarming news about the direction that Trump is headed. But don't worry, unless you're LGBTQ or Black or Hispanic or Jewish or Muslim or Arab or Asian or atheist or disabled or a woman or poor, you'll probably be fine. Trump has reportedly fired 17 independent watchdogs at multiple US government agencies overnight. What can you tell us about that?
Well, this is all part of a purge that will go on throughout the government. I mean, they've announced they intend to fire many professionals. They want to change the U.S. civil service system so that many career professionals, biologists, economists, et cetera, can be removed unless they pledge personal loyalty to Donald Trump, when their only obligation is loyalty to the American Constitution. And this is exactly what I started warning people about 9.5 years ago, that Donald Trump intends to become America's dictator, and everything he's done coming into office, all of these overwhelming changes, and this is just the beginning, all move us in the direction of him holding unaccountable power.
There is some suggestion, isn't there, that it's unconstitutional what Donald Trump has done because he's supposed to give 30 days notice before firing any independent watchdogs. Do you think that he will be challenged robustly enough by his fellow Republicans on this?
I doubt he'll be challenged by Republicans. They have all decided that they do not want to risk running in a primary where a Trump MAGA person will defeat them in the primary. I mean, this is quite cowardly given that more than 1 million Americans died for this country. But he will be challenged in court. The problem is that the U.S. Supreme Court issued a decision that said that the President of the United States official acts are presumed legal and are unreviewable by anyone. So what that's done is given Trump permission to take a meat axe to the law, and unless the Supreme Court modifies that position, he will continue to do anything he wants and get away with it.
I also read this week that one of the MAGA people, and you'll have to forgive me, I can't remember specifically which, but has proposed an amendment which would allow Trump to run for a third term. How seriously should we take that, do you think?
Fairly importantly, it will not become part of the Constitution because 35 states would have to ratify that, and there are at least 15 states that would not do so. But don't be surprised if Trump simply declares no need for an election in 4 years. After all, Donald, who I've been covering since 1988, and I wrote in that year that he might become president, Donald has said in the past that he can suspend the Constitution, and he has said the worst decision he ever made was to leave the White House 4 years ago.
I'm looking through all of the things that have happened in the very infancy of this second term of Donald Trump. So issuing pardons for the people involved in the January 6th insurrection, leaving the World Health Organization, suspending foreign aid, backing biblical Israeli claims to Palestinian land, withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, saying that the birthright rule, which currently exists, that says that you're American if you're born in America, trying to rescind that, cancelling travel for refugees, recommitting to the death penalty, warning Joe Biden that he should have pardoned himself, putting anti-discrimination government staff on leave. Which of these worries you the most?
Well, they all worry me because they're all part of a clear plan to create a president who is unaccountable when the president of the United States should be the most accountable person under our Constitution. And by the way, one of the pardons you didn't mention is Donald pardoned one of the biggest drug traffickers in the world. And that was, to me, not at all surprising because years ago, Donald was business partners with another of the biggest drug traffickers in the world, and he did absolutely extraordinary favors for this man that make no sense whatsoever unless they were in business together and he was taking care of his business partner in the cocaine business.
So I'm almost reluctant to talk about this because I don't know if in the grander scheme of things it's a red herring. But I also know that for a lot of people it's emblematic of what they're fearful of. Elon Musk appearing to do what looked like a Nazi salute at the inauguration. Do you think that there is a pathway whereby right now he's denying it, but in a year's time, he may say, yeah, that's what it was, and so what? And we end up with a population of people who say, and I've heard people argue this, although thankfully they're in a minority. But, Hitler had a lot of good ideas, actually.
Well, a whole lot of far-right groups in America are hailing that salute as a Heil Hitler. They certainly took it that way. And let's remember that Elon Musk is a prince of apartheid South Africa, and he uses as his avatar online Pepe the Frog, a notorious racist symbol in America. So it may have been a gaffe, but I don't think so. But I'm also not big on gaffes. I think more importantly, Elon Musk is proposing that a whole bunch of things happen that would seriously harm poor people, middle-class people, the elderly, the disabled, and children. And through spending changes and policy changes. And I think that's the bigger concern, that the fundamental plan here on the economic front is to raise prices on all manufactured goods by putting tariffs on foreign goods, which means domestic companies can raise their prices to almost the tariffed level, and then to strip money from aid to children, et cetera. And in fact, Donald Trump says he might want to get rid of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. That's the federal agency that helps when a hurricane or fires like those in Los Angeles cause massive devastation.